Beaumark missile accident site in New Jersey. January 24, 1961, the 1961 Goldsboro B-52 crash occurred near Goldsboro, North Carolina. A Boeing B-52 Stratofortress carrying two Mark 39 nuclear bombs broke up in mid-air, dropping its nuclear payload in the process. 1965 Philippine CA-4 crash, where a Skyhawk attack aircraft with a nuclear weapon fell into the sea. The pilot, the aircraft, and the B-43 nuclear bomb were never recovered. It was not until 1989 that the Pentagon revealed the loss of the 1-megaton bomb. January 17, 1966, the 1966 Palomares B-52 crash occurred when a B-52G bomber of the USAF collided with a KC-135 tanker during mid-air refueling off the coast of Spain. The KC-135 was completely destroyed when its fuel load ignited, killing all 4 crew members. The B-52G broke apart, killing 3 of the 7 crew members aboard. Of the 4 Mk-28 type hydrogen bombs the B-52G carried, 3 were found on land near Almería, Spain. The non-nuclear explosives in 2 of the weapons detonated upon impact with the ground, resulting in the contamination of a 2 square kilometer, 490 acre, 0.78 square mile area by radioactive plutonium. The 4th, which fell into the Mediterranean Sea, was recovered intact after a 21.5-month-long search. January 21, 1968. The 1968 Thule Airbase B-52 crash involved the United States Air Force, USF, B-52 bomber. The aircraft was carrying 4 hydrogen bombs when a cabin fire forced the crew to abandon the aircraft. 6 crew members ejected safely, but one who did not have an ejection seat was killed while trying to bail out. The bomber crashed onto sea ice in Greenland, causing the nuclear payload to rupture and disperse, which resulted in widespread radioactive contamination. One of the bombs remains lost. September 18 to 19, 1980. The Damascus accident occurred in Damascus, Arkansas, where a Titan missile equipped with a nuclear warhead exploded. The accident was caused by a maintenance man who dropped a socket from a socket wrench down an 80-foot, 24-meter shaft, puncturing a fuel tank on the rocket. Leaking fuel resulted in a hypergolic fuel explosion, jettisoning the W-53 warhead beyond the launch site. Nuclear testing and fallout. Over 500 atmospheric nuclear weapons tests were conducted at various sites around the world from 1945 to 1980. Radioactive fallout from nuclear weapons testing was first drawn to public attention in 1954 when the Castle Bravo hydrogen bomb test at the Pacific Proving Grounds contaminated the crew and catch of the Japanese fishing boat Lucky Dragon. One of the fishermen died in Japan 7 months later, and the fear of contaminated tuna led to a temporary boycotting of the popular staple in Japan. The incident caused widespread concern around the world, especially regarding the effects of nuclear fallout and atmospheric nuclear testing, and provided a decisive impetus for the emergence of the anti-nuclear weapons movement in many countries. As public awareness and concern mounted over the possible health hazards associated with exposure to the nuclear fallout, various studies were done to assess the extent of the hazard. A Centers for Disease Control and Prevention National Cancer Institute study claims that fallout from atmospheric nuclear tests would lead to perhaps 11,000 excess deaths among people alive during atmospheric testing in the United States from all forms of cancer, including leukemia, from 1951 to well into the 21st century. As of March 2009, the U.S. is the only nation that compensates nuclear test victims. Since the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act of 1990, more than $1.38 billion in compensation has been approved. The money is going to people who took part in the tests, notably at the Nevada test site, and to others exposed to the radiation. In addition, leakage of byproducts of nuclear weapon production into groundwater has been an ongoing issue, particularly at the Hanford site. Effects of nuclear explosions. Effects of nuclear explosions on human health. Some scientists estimate that a nuclear war with 100 Hiroshima-sized nuclear explosions on cities could cost the lives of tens of millions of people from long-term climatic effects alone. The climatology hypothesis is that if each city firestorms, a great deal of soot could be thrown up into the atmosphere which could blanket the earth, cutting out sunlight for years on end, causing the disruption of food chains, in what is termed a nuclear winter. People near the Hiroshima explosion, and who managed to survive the explosion, subsequently suffered a variety of horrible medical effects. Some of these effects are still present to this day. Initial stage, the first 1 to 9 weeks, in which are the greatest number of deaths, with 90% due to thermal injury or blast effects and 10% due to superlethal radiation exposure. Intermediate stage, from 10 to 12 weeks. The deaths in this period are from ionizing radiation in the median lethal range, LD50. Late period lasting from 13 to 20 weeks. This period has some improvement in survivors' condition. Delayed period, from 20 plus weeks. Characterized by numerous complications, mostly related to healing of thermal and mechanical injuries, and if the individual was exposed to a few hundred to 1,000 millisieverts of radiation, it is coupled with infertility, subfertility, and blood disorders. Furthermore, ionizing radiation above a dose of around 50 to 100 millisievert exposure has been shown to statistically begin increasing one's